welcome back to Frankly Speaking. I'm your host, Frank. Okay, guys, big story tonight coming from Catholicism.org, written by Brother Andre Marie. If you guys don't know Brother Andre Marie, I don't recall what order he's from. Good guy, seems to really care and love the faith in a genuine way. And he's reporting something big here, and that is the possible compromise by the U.S. government of the Papal Conclave of 1958. Guys, this is kind of a big story. If the document is real and we can verify it all, this kind of leads us into a lot of the problems of the modern church that we've talked about. Now, for me, I'm not going to take up the theological sort of metrics of this document and this report. I'm going to look at this more from a historical perspective, because as we know in the Catholic world, as we've all sensed for a while, that we've been infiltrated by far left entities, Marxist entities over the past century, maybe even going all the way back to the French Revolution. And Brother Andre Marie presents us now with the document, a state document from the U.S. government that reveals that the United States government, the CIA, might have had a role in affecting the 1958 conclave. Let me pull it up here real quick. Okay. All right, there it is, guys. Okay. Let's see here. U.S. State Department interference in papal election, a Father Feeney connection. Brother Andre Marie writes here, it came to my attention via X the other day, thanks to a posting by Stephen Cox, that a declassified U.S. State Department telegram from 1958 reveals possible top-level government interference in papal elections. Here is the embedded JPG image, followed by the X posting by Mr. Cox. Let's read this document here. From the State Department, October 11th of 1958 here, quote, limited distribution. During the conversation with embassy officer, Vatican source expressed personal view. Next Pope will be elected outside conclave by agreement between cardinals. Source said Pius XII elected this manner, and recalled that as cardinals were entering 1939 conclave, Cardinal Pizzardo had called him aside and asked him to prepare biographical sketch of Pacelli. Added, he consulted with the Monsignor Montini, and both decided for obvious reasons not to go ahead with Pizzardo's request. Speculating on Pius XII's successor, source said college may very well choose an old cardinal whose short pontificate may be devoted entirely to the reorganization of the Roman Curia, left by deceased Pope in deplorable state. Source indicated election of Siri Ruffini Ottaviani would be misfortune for the church, since the three cardinals have an unrealistic approach to great problems facing the world today. Source said election of anyone of the three depend influence on American cardinals, and volunteer suggestions U.S. authorities would do well exercise discreetly their own influence on certain American cardinals. And there you have it. This document seems to reveal it. Listen, I'm not an investigative journalist here. How far reaching this is, ultimately what this means, if the document is actually legitimate, I don't know. But we have always speculated in the Catholic world that we've been infiltrated, and many of us already known that, through Operation Gladio that happened when the church and the CIA colluded after World War II, after the fall of Mussolini. There was a bunch of nefarious things going on. The church, we know, had really very little choice but to cooperate with the American government, because it had no more temporal defender, again, after the fall of Mussolini. When the soul of Italy was being battled over between the communists from the East and the classical liberals from the West, I believe it was then that Pope Pius XII made a decision to side with the classical liberals, since the indifferent approach toward religion versus the communist, more brutal tactics against the faith over there, well, it was a better option. But with that, of course, comes the infiltration of liberalism that is very far-reaching and really effectively has destroyed everything in the West, everything that liberalism brings. We know at Operation Gladio, right? 1946, you had, again, the CIA involved there. There was a lot of ballot stuffing, a lot of controversial sort of metrics in regards to the 46 election, which kicked out the king out of Italy. Then in 48, when they were having the vote for the first parliamentary government, what we know is that the communists were about to win that election. State Department, CIA had to step in, working with the mob and the Vatican to assure that the election went in a way that, well, everybody wanted. Let's put it that way. So we know we've had infiltration into the church during that time period. Listen, I'm not suggesting infiltration started in that era. It probably started years earlier, but there was some sense of control up until Mussolini fell in Italy, as Mussolini was much more friendly to the church than either the liberal republics or even the communists, of course, were in that regard. Now, what does this document mean for the church? In a theological sense, I don't know. I have no idea. I can't speculate. I'm not a theologian. I'm a faithful adherent to the church, a faithful child of the church, and but it is concerning that we know once again, and I think this is the point. The reason why I bring this video up is oftentimes we Catholics bring up the issue of infiltration by communism or by liberal republics or liberal ideologies of sort. Catholics are dismissed as conspiracy kooks, where here's your firsthand document, here's your firsthand knowledge that behind the scenes there is a war that is unseen, and simply always throwing the word conspiracy around to shoot down ideas oftentimes that come to be true. Well, there you go, guys. There you have it right there. I don't know what else to say, as the church was probably infiltrated a long time ago. It's why we've had the deep systematic problems ever since that time. And there you have it. So let's see. Stephen Cox here writes, the U.S. State Department had a mole in the Vatican, feeding them information about how to interfere with the 1958 conclave, so a moderate would be elected. Eventually, Angelo Roncalli emerged victorious. Months later, he announced his intention to hold the Vatican II Council. And of course, we know the debate between the Novus Ordo and the Trads about Vatican II. You know, again, the problems that came after that, the liberalization of the church, and of course, the apostasy that has ensued in the church and really all over the world. Now, let me just make a clear statement here. The church has been infiltrated. We know that. But it's been all the institutions of the West. That's the irony of it all. And what the world suffers right now from is a Catholic Church that in many ways has lost its faith in its own mission. This infiltration that has been happening now for the past 40, 50, 60, 70 years is the reason why the church seems to be on the retreat on moral issues, and without the sacramental nature of the church, with its mission that it is to proclaim the gospel of Jesus Christ in a real deep and meaningful way, we've seen the morality all over the world kind of collapse, right? The world goes wherever the Catholic Church goes. The church is the moral foundation of truth. It has to stand for what it believes. It has to be sort of firm against the world that is always trying to knock it down. Guys, historically, this is a big document, it seems like to me, unless there's something that I don't know of a material nature that, you know, again, it makes this document illegitimate in any kind of way. Pass on the information to me. But again, you want proof of infiltration within the church, especially from the Anglo republics, the Anglo liberal republics, that is. Here it is right here firsthand. There you go. I'm going to leave it at that. You guys decide for yourself what that means. This is Frank signing off for Frankly Speaking. Good night, everybody.